Well, hello and welcome to the live update for today, which is Thursday today. Thursday, March 31st, last day of March. I do apologize if you tuned in Tuesday. We had some technical difficulties. The unicorn came and stole my internet, flew away. But Casey Riley of Ovention was kind enough to reschedule, and we have a lot of stuff we want to talk today about ghost kitchens and mobile units and a lot of really fun things. But Casey, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And why don't you tell us who you are and what you do, and then we'll get right into the meat of it.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me, Brian. It's a quick reschedule. Glad we could make it so work. I'm Casey Riley, Director of Ovention. We are an oven manufacturer in the ventless oven category. We are actually owned by our parent company, Hatco, and all made and designed in the United States in Wisconsin. That's where our headquarters is and our factory. I've been with Ovention for 6 years, and I started out in the engineering department and recently was promoted to director of the company. And so now learning every attribute of the company from marketing to engineering to sales and growing the business as much as we can. It's been nice out of the pandemic, getting out and meeting tons of new customers and working with the sales team along with working with the engineering team, developing new technology that we have for the market.
Well, that's great, and congratulations, man. You're getting kind of a crash course, and people are kind of filtering in. I wanted to let you know we are going to be talking about ghost kitchens and mobile units, the difference, the build outs, what you need to know as far as equipment wise. If you have questions, put them in the comments section of your Facebook, wherever you're watching us. Put it in the comments section. We will see them and we will get them answered. So again, congratulations. I completely just cut you out. I apologize. There we go. I am focused. I'm leaving tonight for Italy, so my mind's already on the plane.
Right.
So right now I'm going to focus on ghost kitchens and build outs. So again, ask your questions here, guys, but we're going to get right on with this. And for right now, ghost kitchens, they're not as scary as you think. You guys over there at Ovation, you kind of got your finger on the pulse. I mean, it's your job to watch this kind of stuff and figure out the trends. So what are some of the newest trends and directions that you've seen in ghost kitchens and mobile units alike?
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely grown exponentially over the last year or two because of the pandemic. So there's a lot of different things going on in ghost kitchens, in mobile units. I'd say they were popular before the pandemic, but it just blew up once we needed to get food to outside of the city because everybody left the cities and went to the suburbs and were stuck at home. So third-party delivery also drove the need for ghost kitchens, mobile units, and some hybrid concepts. So we're seeing where the expanded popularity because of the pandemic and third party is that this is a booming industry, but also because of labor shortages. On a ghost kitchen concept, you don't need the server, you don't need the hostess, you don't have a big seating room to clean every night. It's only the kitchen staff. So because of labor shortages, they're moving to having the delivery drivers as their portal to the customer. But then also a lot of businesses in the restaurant industry went out of business. There was, I think, 20-30% of restaurants went under. And so there was a lot of empty kitchens. And the ghost kitchen concept fits in small footprint, that fits in small kitchens and can be very versatile to serve many different types of food. And then also just that different environment without the customer present. So you're just delivering the food. Maybe there's a pickup window. It's growing and growing as where people are not wanting that interaction of people anymore because of the pandemic. So that's definitely part of the trend on ghost and mobile units.
Well, that was going to also be my next question is what would you kind of attribute the rise in popularity to? And like I said, people just don't want to be with people anymore right now, honestly. And as sad as that is, I mean, it's very true. And I guess you were saying that, a lot of ghost kitchens or a lot of kitchens have freed up, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. You think that in itself was just some of these people who had that dream forever, see this kitchen kind of priced to move because landlords were hurting too. They were trying to turn it around. And you think that there was just that now's the time to do it, to live your dreams a little bit?
Yep, and I think it had the recovery with all the restaurants going under during the pandemic, and we saw that upswing. There's tons of equipment that was for sale on auctions, and people can get into it at a very low rate if they survive the pandemic, basically financially.
Yeah.
And so there was that opportunity, and people took advantage, and different areas actually jumped into the food industry that I never expected. Like tech companies that write software for a living now are driving kitchens, or real estate companies that said, "Oh, we have space for a kitchen, let's put it in." So a lot of people are getting into it that I never would have expected.
Well, yeah, it's like you said, some of the tech companies, I know we're talking with other people who are just doing the virtual, they're just the promotion of the virtual kitchens or the ghost kitchens too. So even from that one little area, there's a lot of little offshoots and gig opportunities popping up for everybody. So, I mean, that is definitely something that's, I also heard that, restaurants who are in growth made versatile spaces available to host production for multiple events.
Right, so you can have more little kitchen.
Okay, I just read it and I didn't think about it, but it also sounds like that you could, basically people were just using this to rent out their kitchens to kind of make up some bills and lost revenue.
Yep. Okay,
so all very much the popularity increase is just out of necessity. It sounds like just surviving.
Definitely.
All right. As sad as that is, I mean, it's kind of, it opened up a door to a lot of people who maybe are going to do great in this, and different opportunities for folks. So I guess on that, let's just talk about what are the major differences between ghost kitchens and mobile units, because I know at a certain point it will transition from one to the other if you're going in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of similarities based on small footprint. The kitchen is always going to be small in a ghost kitchen and a mobile unit. And some of them have the complexities of generator power. So a mobile unit's always going to have a generator because you're not going to have that ability to plug into city power. And then there are some ghost kitchens out there that are pod-based or container-based. So there's more manufacturers like that are dropping ghost kitchens around the country. There's tons of deals in food industry magazines saying that the container manufacturers are rolling out 700 locations with Wendy's or different large chain opportunities, but then they're putting them in these container footprint options.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, there's a lot of kitchens open. So people open a ghost kitchen out of a restaurant that closed, and they can serve 7 different menus if they have the right equipment that can handle all these different food items from a Chinese, Mexican, American, all out of the same kitchen, and have 5 different restaurants built on the same platform.
Yeah, and I have actually known people on U.S. Beats team as well who have done that. They've just basically got one space and started 3 places out of it.
Right.
It's several different iterations of that one idea, but I mean, at this point, is the market expanding for ghost kitchens, or is it it's only been a year or two, let's say, since this boom has happened? Is it already oversaturated, or is this something people should really think about doing now because the time is right to move on it?
Yeah, I think we're still in the upswing, maybe nearing the peak. There's a lot of companies doing it. There's a lot of availability for it still. There is space for it because, like I said, people move from cities to suburbs and the population is more spread out, where a mobile unit is more convenient, where you can move it to where the people are. And that's why that pod concept really blew up and a lot of people got into it. Is they can find a location. They don't have to build a brick and mortar. They can drop it, see how successful it is, and if it doesn't work, pick it up and move it somewhere else. So I definitely see where it's still going upward trending, but it could be nearing the peak soon, I think.
Well, and I didn't even know about the pods until 5 minutes before this happened, and you told me about it. Very interesting. Makes sense. At that point, is it a mobile unit if you can pick it up and move it, or is it a ghost kitchen? I don't want to spend a whole hell of a lot of time on this, but as you can see earlier, it's just the definitions and terms. We'll put it out there. You can make your own decision. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can get into it and what you need to do to actually do it successfully for yourself as well. So without falling into more rabbit holes here, let's just start with ghost kitchens. We're going to ask this question for both ghost kitchens and mobile units. Maybe they're the same, maybe they're different. But what are your basic needs for a ghost kitchen when you're starting? And you can start with like the number one and do a couple ancillary ones. But what are the basic needs for a ghost kitchen? And then same question for mobile units.
Right. And I think it's key for both of them to have your menu defined. So if you're going to be a Mexican or if you're going to be a burger, you're going to be that specific type of kitchen, or you're going to have 3 menus. You need to know what menu you're going to do so that you can pick the right equipment to support that menu. So like I said, and have the right staff. So if you need a chef or you're starting it on your own and you have your menu items, your recipes, everything that you need, you might be ready to go. You just need the equipment and the space to start. The staff can come when needed. I've seen so many mobile kitchens that are started by a chef, and it's only them and their family running it. Versus
Right.
Ghost Kitchen, you're going to need a larger staff to support, hopefully a high throughput, high demand food menu. And like I said, the menu's key, and then you move to the equipment. It's important to pick the right equipment that can be utilized for many different items. A deep fryer and a flat top and those things are generally the things to go with in a kitchen, but those take up extra space. They need a hood. They need all these different auxiliary items that stuff like a ventless oven does not. So the Ovention oven can drive through tons of different food products and do it at a high level without needing multiple different food equipment styles. So the flexibility of the equipment is very key to a ghost kitchen or a mobile unit.
Okay. Well, and I like the first thing you said was, even though you do work for an equipment company, you're like the menu. I mean, and I always skip that for some reason, and I know I shouldn't because it's always the answer. But it doesn't matter what you get if it can't cook what you're going to be making. So that was the simplest answer that I just danced around and completely ignored. So I appreciate that. What do you think about, like, maybe the secondary thing is either you got to think about either a pod in an existing space or maybe like a mobile unit. Is that the next thing you need to, besides just equipment on the inside? What's the main thing that drives your vision?
Yeah, so I would say a partnership in the industry, or a partner that's going to manufacture your mobile unit, manufacture your pod. That's top of the line important, because that's your next step to getting it to be cooking food. So you're
Okay.
going to need that partnership for food supply, equipment supply, design work if you're doing a pod, or exterior design work on a mobile kitchen, because you want it to look good from the outside when somebody's picking your truck over somebody else's truck. So the partnership in the industry with somebody that's new to it, and we've seen that a lot from the technical companies getting in. So that we've had multiple software companies that are running this ghost kitchen model, and they didn't know what they were getting into. So they found the right partners, like an Ovention or equipment manufacturer, a designer, to start them down the right path.
Yeah, and I like how you said partners, because I was just looking through the website, and you guys do have things like a pizza calculator, yield per hour, and there's even sections up here, recipe finder, and just spec sheets, obviously, for your own equipment. But I mean, it sounds a lot like you definitely want to. The second thing is menu, and then footprint of whatever space you're using, be it a mobile unit or a ghost kitchen or a pod.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you need the facility to be able to find the equipment that fits. Or we talked previously, do you figure out the equipment and then find the footprint that fits that equipment? And so it's a balancing act between the two. If you can find a sweet deal on a food truck, you start with that and see what fits. But if you can find a huge kitchen and have the flexibility of picking the equipment later, there's all options.
Okay. I mean, obviously every scenario is different, but I mean, if in a perfect world, you would want to do it in this particular order. Mm-hmm. So, well, I mean, because that led right into the question of, should your equipment dictate your entire build out? And the answer is sure, sometimes. Yeah. I love how there is no right answer on that, really. So, all right. So then I guess question number 2, established kitchens versus build your own. As a man in the industry, somebody who sees how things are going both ways, what would you kind of recommend for people, let's just say starting out in a ghost kitchen concept? Would you recommend them calling around, or not jumping the shark, but biting the bullet and just getting your own pod.
Right.
Let's just even call it just a pod, not even a brick and mortar. But
yeah, and I think it's all about your timeline. Obviously, everybody was kind of jumping into the bandwagon and trying to figure out what will fit with them. So if they found a kitchen that was available, they jumped on it. And I'm sure it was at the cheap. So you can get into a kitchen and then figure out the equipment that you have in there from the previous owner. But also, if you have the time to do it right, I would say designing the kitchen from scratch is the way to go. We had one of our customers that got into the space. They were buying previously owned kitchens, and some of the stuff that they're doing just didn't fit well in the flow of the kitchen. And they realized that we want to go to a modular-based system so we can control the design and the flow and the efficiencies around that kitchen rather than being kind of stuck into what was previously done.
Yeah.
So I mean, that you can do it either way. It's all about time and money. Whatever one you have more of is probably going to guide you on what direction you go to designing a kitchen or designing a food truck or what avenue.
Okay. We do have some more questions, but I want to let anybody out there know if you have questions for Casey here, go ahead and put them in the comments and we'll get them asked. I did have one that I was talking with someone I used to work with the other day, and it popped up at Pizza X in Bloomington. They've bought a big facility, and they've actually just built out like 3 separate lines of ghost kitchens, basically the same thing, but all the food trucks now come there. Is that an avenue for some people who maybe don't want to necessarily do it themselves, but buy the equipment and become a facilitator of ghost kitchens? Is there a demand for that in a lot of places as food trucks and mobile units are on the rise?
Yeah, we've seen this in the big chain market too. So they'll figure out a package, and then once you design the package, one of our customers, a smaller, I think 3 or 4 restaurant customer, loved our oven, started using it, but decided they wanted to go to the mobile or pod-based kitchen. And so they found a partner, and one of the major players in the pod market is Reef Technologies, and they partnered with them, and now they're making pods all around the country based on their menu that is served in 4 restaurants. So there's that, and then I've read articles on Wendy's and larger chains like that linking with these ghost kitchen concepts or cloud kitchen concepts that are technology based, and then driving more and more locations so that they can though they don't have to build the large full customer experience restaurant that they usually do.
Okay. And as you mentioned there, I do know that even today, I think we're talking with somebody who does kind of virtual ghost kitchens, or they promote the virtual ghost kitchens of celebrities. So like Barstool Bites is Dave Portnoy's ghost kitchen that you can, in your restaurant, also serve. So there's a weird thing now too, where people are, it's like, you don't even have your kitchen. They'll send you the stuff. All you do is run it through your oven. So it's one of those weird things of the terminology and definitions are very gray and vague at this point. So
yeah, and those concepts, that's the key around versatility on the kitchen. So you're going to have 20 different concepts coming through, and you got to be able to cook it. So your equipment has to be versatile, has to be able to do everything, and your staff. I mean, if they're not a trained chef, they're not going to be able to manage developing the recipes, developing the menu for different concepts. But if they're just sending you the food and you have the recipes developed, you need that piece of equipment that can do that. And that's one key thing that Ovention focuses on basically a non-trained employee can do it the same as the chef every single time, because we develop the recipes and they're built into the oven. And all they have to do is push a button and it's going to cook the same.
And that's honestly that would fit that model too. So we might be doing a story. I think we're going to do a follow-up story with this incorporated with that other, the virtual ghost kitchens. In the May issue of PMQ. So Mick Brown showed up late. He says he's new. What's a ghost kitchen? He doesn't want to leave to Google it. So actually, that's kind of a perfect segue, because we did, and I forgot to bring it up, I did do the Wikipedia definition of ghost kitchen. A ghost kitchen, also known as delivery-only restaurant, virtual kitchen, shadow kitchen, commissary kitchen, cloud kitchen, or dark kitchen. That's my favorite. I do like that. But it's a cooking facility set up for preparation of delivery-only meals. Some ghost kitchens have allowed takeout meals or included drive-thrus. They do not include a storefront or indoor seating for customers. I think that's a big caveat right there. That, no storefront nor indoor seating. They differ from a virtual restaurant in that Ghost Kitchens is not a restaurant brand in itself and may contain kitchen space and facilities. So very gray. That's where it starts. And then of course we were having a definition of when does it stop being a ghost kitchen? And that's actually was one of the next questions, Mick. I hope that helped, Mick. We probably should have done that at the beginning, but that leads perfectly into when is it not a ghost kitchen? When you get in a pod, is that now a mobile unit because you can move it all over the place, or does it even matter and we're going to waste 2 minutes for nothing?
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, I see it as both ways. So the pod base and the food truck option are customer facing. So you are going to have that window that opens up and faces the customer in most instances. Some of the pods are relying on the third-party delivery. So maybe they're not going to have a customer-facing window. But I think that's where the definition kind of draws the line is a ghost kitchen has minimal or zero customer-facing, and the pod and mobile unit or food truck are going to have that communication, direct interaction with the customer.
Well, and then Mick followed up. He says that they call them, what was it? There it is, in pop-up kitchens. Again, that could be slightly different, though. But yes, different. Same. It's like soda and cola, and But so hopefully it helped. Again, it's very if you can't tell, we're still kind of wondering exactly where to draw certain specific lines anyway. So as long as I think that was very clear and concise, though, Casey. Store if you have a window where you have to look at the person, your customer, mobile, and then if you don't ever have to look them in the eye. Ghost kitchen. You're haunting them slightly. Exactly. So, okay, well, I guess moving on from that, thanks for bringing that up, Mick. That really helped us get back on track there. I guess we can jump back into, we've kind of covered this a little bit, but some space-saving tips for mobile units. Again, stackable doors versus extenders. But, what are some space-saving tips that you've come across or maybe people hadn't thought of?
Yeah, and that's back to, like you said, stackable or small footprint configurations. One of the things that costs a lot or actually ruins the environment of a kitchen is grease output or a hood. So they're loud, they're expensive, they require a lot of cleaning if necessary over time. So one of the things about a ventless piece of equipment is that it doesn't require a hood. It cleans the grease out of the food being cooked during the cooking process. And then something specific to the Ovention brand is that we're automated. So it's labor savings, but also heat output savings and sound reduction savings for the kitchen environment. So the person that is working at the food truck doesn't have to worry about if they're burning the food in the oven because it's going to come out automatically. And then you don't have the heat output of the standard conveyorized oven that's on the market that would not work in a small footprint kitchen like a ghost kitchen, generally a mobile or a pod, because that kitchen would be 150 degrees in no time, especially in a summer install or selling base. So footprint is critical in these units because they're smaller, and I think the ventless, the automation, because of the labor savings, are critical to a pod or mobile unit type install.
Well, and definitely, like you said, go ventless and stack. Kind of automate everything, it sounds like, too, because it's going to be chaotic, hectic work environment. So have it to be programmable, push of a button. I know people doing wood-fired pizzas, obviously not. Some pizzas in general you have to oven tend. You can't just put them in. But, things like items like these ovens that you guys are selling at Ovention will kind of help in that respect. But I especially like this one I'm going to show folks right here. But it's got that, you see how it's got the loading doors? I just missed it. But something like that, just think about what you're going to be, because this has the doors that keep the heat in. Basically, when it goes into the oven, it blocks the entrance, and same with the exit. So that's going to be, it's getting there, guys. 1,000 recipes, that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just things like that. The simple things you can do. Make sure there's as much automation as you can get. Do things to cut down on heat or uncomfortability for your staff and yourself. So, I mean, aside from that, the biggest thing is ventless and stackable to save space. There's no other way you can go. So.
Right, and that unit's our shuttle, which basically is based on the concept of the conveyor, but in a batch cooking situation where they're cooking one at a time with the doors closed. But then during peak times, we have the option of opening both doors and running it as a standard conveyor. So you can have the extremely high throughput of a conveyor, but during hot days or non-peak hours, you're closing that door and saving tons of energy.
Yeah, no, that's nice because I mean, I run hot, I sweat a lot, and having something like that to cut down any amount of degrees is it's a winner in my book. So,
right.
All right. Well, I mean, at this point, I have one more question, and if anybody else wants to squeeze in their questions, and if I think of any more, I will ask. But what are some of the items you throw the bank at? Don't cheap out on. What are a couple items in a mobile unit or a ghost kitchen build out that you recommend, be it oven, mixer, or whatever?
Right.
What do you say? Go all hog on, whole hog. Mix of metaphors.
yeah, I definitely have a couple, and that's based on the experience of successful ones and unsuccessful ones we've seen in the market. And style and branding and getting your name out there for a ghost kitchen or a mobile kitchen is important because people aren't going to know that you're there because ghost is supposed to be hidden. So either you're linking with the right partners or getting your name out there. And like I said, one of our customers in Indiana grew very quickly and got their name out there, and it's a well-known in that area. As they expand, it might continue to grow, but they definitely utilize that branding and market research to figure out how they fit and where to emphasize on what they do best. But then next, one of the things that they have been successful with, they use a triple stack of our shuttle, but they have an 80-item menu from different food types. One of the recipes is pad thai, then it goes to pizza and sandwiches to chicken wings. So, I mean, it's all about that equipment selection to meet your needs of your menu and your people. So, like you said, a push of the button to cook the same way the chef designed the food to be cooked. It's just a simple approach. You can pay somebody $15 an hour rather than $30 an hour to cook the same food. So those are the most important things in my mind are the right equipment and the right people behind it in branding and a recipe development menu, because the biggest thing that people are going to come back for is that the food is good. So if it's cooked right every time and it's cooked to where it was developed, they're going to keep coming back.
Well, yeah, and on that note, you know, if anybody, I do have the websites down below. You can look at oventionovens.com or oventionovens.com/oventionovens and actually see the ovens. It's really not hard to get there if you just go to the website. They made it very nice and very easy. Everything's where it should be. So, but I mean, at that point, why don't you tell us a little bit about maybe what Ovention can offer as far as the support behind the equipment that you guys actually put out there as well.
Yeah, I mean, we have a full sales management team that's based all across the country, Florida, Texas, and Wisconsin. But then we have a network of representatives that are nationwide. They each have their own territory. They have test kitchens where you can come see the ovens cook. You can bring your food in to have them cook it. But then when you purchase an oven, we have the benefit of a 45-minute demo. So every oven purchase comes with included in the price a demo where we have to come to your kitchen or at least do something virtually to train you how to clean it, how to maintain it, how to cook your food in the oven the right way. So there's major support on that side. And then from the service side, because everybody's worried about that, we have a full service network based out of every area with 2 to 3 approved service agents that can jump on any service call. On a mobile unit, it's nice you can drive to them, but in a ghost kitchen, they're going to get out to you, and that's a ever struggling area, but we continue to be confident in the support system we have.
Okay, so is this Ovention University? I was just kind of looking at that. Is that kind of, it says workshops are scheduled on the basis, so people can kind of come here and maybe even sign up for any particular item that they want to learn more about?
Yep. So Ovention University is based off our parent company's similar concept, where they bring in people to the factory and train customers, train representatives, and give it a on hands-on experience. But also on our website, there's an option to request a demo, and that demo will send to our representatives across the country, and then you'll be able to schedule your demo to see the ovens in action. Each kitchen has 3 to 6 of our ovens with all the options that you can cook in based on your menu, based on your throughput, and based on what you need. So there's a lot of opportunity to see the ovens in action.
Well, I think that's really good, getting that hands-on, and so allows you to play with the toys before you buy them.
Right.
And especially since it's your livelihood, it's important to make sure it's the right fit, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mick is asking again, this, I don't know. Any good ghost kitchens in LA? I don't know. I want to say there's a couple on top of my head, but I am spacing on it. It's like asking me to play a song on guitar. I know hundreds of them. Don't ask me, because I will forget every single one.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Mick, email me at brian@pmq.com. I'll save your email, and I will find out, because I got friends out there, brother. So, with that, I just want to look over, is there anything else, as far as support-wise that you guys offer here at, at Ovention? Because it looks like you can get everything you need, but then there's also the support to back it up. So you really don't have to be scared to, pull the trigger and buy some good equipment.
Right. And you mentioned before, when you're going through the website, the pizza calculator. So you want to know how many pizzas you can do per hour, because at peak you're going to do 100 or 150. So you need to have the right oven that fits that need. But also on there, you mentioned the recipe finder. That's a repository that we're actually refreshing and getting it up to speed. But it has a repository of 500 recipes that have been used in our ovens, and it specifically calls out each oven that it's used in, so the food product, the recipe. You need an account, so you won't be able to get there. But
that's
it's very easy. It's just a quick registration, but you have a access point to what people have already done in the ovens and how fast they've done it. We were just out at a bar and restaurant next door to pizza, and minds were blown that we're cooking frozen pizzas in 2 minutes. And it's just an example like that just gets their mind going and see what the ovens are capable of. And then you can hit the recipe finder and see that we can do cookies, we can do quesadillas, you can do any menu item, and there's probably an example out there.
Yeah. Well, what's your favorite ghost kitchen, or have you tried many? I don't know that I've ever tried that many, honestly. I know all about them. I just can't catch them.
Yeah, I love, so like I said, our customer in Indianapolis is Cluster Truck. They have developed that large menu, so you have so many options. And their basis is around, we will not deliver more than 7 minutes away from one of our kitchens. So you get the best food experience where it's not sitting in a car for 30 minutes or your food is cold when you get it. So they're trying to give the impression of a sit-down restaurant, because the food is probably sitting in under a heat lamp for a couple minutes anyway. So that they are a big success story that we've worked with heavily, and they have a different delivery. Their delivery drivers are staffed by Cluster Truck, not the third party, and they were a tech company driven by a software company, basically. So.
Well, that's killer. One of these days, since they're in Indianapolis, yep, that's what I was going to say. I am not valid down here. I tried to remember Indy zip codes. It did not work. Well, now I'm very interested. I want to go check those guys out just because of now the name makes sense. It's just everything. It's just a Cluster Truck.
Yeah,
I love it. Well, I mean, ghost kitchens, they had their window, and they seized it. With this pandemic, it became, I don't want to say the flavor of the month, but more people had eyes on it than did before. People who weren't really aware of it. So now's the time to get in on the ground floor, establish yourself, say you were the first in your neighborhood to do it, but don't do it without help. Mm-hmm. Call these guys at Ovention, man. Oventionovens.com. They've done it. They know how to do it. They can help you. If they can't help you, they'll know who can, and they'll put you there. They'll get you there. But what I'm loving hearing is the support beyond the purchase of the equipment. So, any final word for the industry, Casey? Well, maybe a question or two might come in here last second, but any final word for the industry?
Yeah, like I said, find that right partner. If Ovention is the partner, great. We love selling ovens and working with people on new concepts. But find those right partners in the food industry, food supply, equipment supply, the real estate space, or food truck construction. It's critical in food industry to have the right backing to make your restaurant successful.
Absolutely. Well, great words to live by. There's a lot of great information on the website as well as products. I'd love to have one of those for the kitchen. Here, BMQ.
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
I'm just going to...
I make my lunch in it every day.
I'm going to stare at you awkwardly until you finally just say, fine, it's in the mail.
Oh, right. We'll see what we can do. Our lead time is kind of long right now, but we'll see if I can squeeze one in.
Awesome. I don't mind going to the end of the line. But I want to thank you for rescheduling with us, Casey. I want to thank you for your time today and all the great information. Everybody, please check out OventionOvens.com, see what products they have to offer and what kind of services they can provide you should you choose to get one of them for your operation. I'm off to Italy for a couple weeks with the U.S. Pizza Team for the World Pizza Championships. So please follow us at uspizzateam.com and U.S. Pizza Team Facebook, as well as other places. You just check us out. You'll see us there. Hashtag Pizza Gold, I think is what it's called. So we'll be taking a break for about a month, but when I come back, we will be talking with some modernist cuisine people about their cookbook, and we're going to give one of those bad boys away. 35-pound, $400 cookbook, all about the pizza history. You're going to sign up, Casey.
Definitely.
I'll take a picture of each individual page and send it to you. We can do it that way. So.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you guys next time. But until then, I want you guys to stay safe and stay sane. Later, Casey.
Thanks, Brian.